Hi, in this video, we're going to take a tour of MyStatLab Plus, how to access the course and get started, a quick tour of the features. We'll take a look at the resources that you have available, and we'll also look at how to access homework and quizzes. So from accessing the course from the home page, there's a little plus icon up here, or you can go to My Courses, select your course, and there's a MyLabs Plus. You can also, and this will be in the Canvas module, you can also go directly to their website and bypass ours, which is handy. If our website is down, you can still access the course and do homework. So I'm going to click on Elementary Statistics. When you first enter and try to click on something over here, it will prompt you for an access code. So have your access code ready. If you haven't purchased an access code yet, you can purchase one at this point. You just need a credit card. You can buy one from the company. Or if you select Pay Later, you can have a temporary access free for a couple of weeks until you get an access code. So once you get an access code in, or if you click on Pay Later, then this is what you have access to. So what you want to do first is make sure that your pop-up blocker is off. I did already, but if you have a little pop-up blocker up here, allow pop-ups. Run the browser check to make sure you have what you need, just to make sure you have Adobe Flash Player and some of the items that the videos use in here. Then, when you've got all that done, that's how you access our class. Over here, if you see this with a little X through it, those are things that you don't have access to, but I do for the instructor piece. So what we're going to look at, now that you know how to access the course, and just make sure that you can get in there and make sure you have everything you need with the browser. If you have trouble, there's a little question mark up here, and that's help and support. So if you click on that, there's help for students. If you need more help, that's where you go. This is not run by Yavapai. This is run through Pearson. So any type of technical support needs to come through there. All right, so now that you're in the course itself, you notice the keys on the side. The course home lets you know what to work on next and what's due. Homework, if you click on the homework, I've got a list of homework problems up right now, but it only shows homework. So up here, if you want to select all assignments, it'll show not just the homework, but also the quiz and anything else that's there. On the first day of classes, all of our homework and quizzes will show up. Then if you click on quizzes and tests, this will only bring up the quiz, and then there are some sample tests and quizzes below. And you don't have to do these. If you go back up to homework, if you'll notice, I have the first unit open. So what we have are homework assignments posted here. Notice the due dates. Then there's a review quiz, and the due date's not until December 8th. So this review matches this quiz. So the best thing to do to review is actually do the review that I've posted in here. All right, you've got something called a study plan. I don't use this, but if you want extra practice on anything, you can use the study plan. The gradebook is where you'll go to check your grades. Now, you have to hide overall score or show overall score. It'll tell you what you have. Show calculation will tell you how much of your grade is dependent upon homework, quizzes, tests, and written assignments, and this matches our syllabus. And it will tell you your score in each category. So this is how you check and see how you're doing in the class. Your grades are housed here. StatCrunch is a statistics package that we use. There are data sets from your textbook or the StatCrunch website. I'll show you how to do these things later. Chapter contents, this is our textbook. So if you look at Chapter 1, you have an option to view the chapter opener, the review, the chapter test, view making an informed decision or a case study. For a particular section, you click on that section. There are video presentations for each section, and what these are the examples out of the textbook. Notice they're using a TI-84, using StatCrunch. They'll do the samples out of the textbook either by hand, using StatCrunch, or using calculator, and those are our three basic ways we do. Let me get to a different section so you can see. Chapter 3 is where there's more computation. So on the video presentations, here's how to find quartiles by hand, using StatCrunch, using the calculator. So these I've posted sometimes a link to these videos in your notes, but you can access all of these videos at any time. All right, the other thing that we have besides video presentations are an e-text. So this matches your textbook exactly. And again, you might get a pop-up blocker up here. If it's not opening, disable the pop-up blocker. So this says page 147. This is the same as page 147 in your textbook. So explore a little bit. You turn the pages up here. You can zoom in. If you have a hard time seeing, you can zoom out. You can jump to any particular chapter, or you can actually type a page number in there and jump to any particular page. So your textbook is inside of your textbook, or your online. How cool is that? All right, when you want to get back to the main menu, the next item that you have are some tools for success. In here, there are a couple of worthwhile items, I think. One of them is there's StatCrunch technology, so you could do that. There are StatCrunch video tutorials that I also have linked in the Canvas portion. There's a technology manual for the graphing calculator. If you don't like the video so much, there's a graphing calculator manual and some technology tutorial videos with some other technologies besides StatCrunch in the calculator. So explore your resources and see what works best for you. There's a multimedia library, so you can see what's available. So let's say chapter 3, you're having some trouble with 3.2, and you want to see what resources there are. There's an applet for standard deviation. There's a multimedia textbook. These are all the videos that are in that particular section. And then up here, which kind of nice, is that in the chapter tests, if you want extra practice, and this is where I'll get your review from as well, but in the chapter test, let me look at video. Chapter test prep videos. The chapter test in the textbook, every single solitary problem is worked out and posted in here. So if you need extra examples, the chapter test is a great way to great place to go. So that's a wonderful resource. All right, and then I don't really use the course tools because we have Canvas. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So we've done how to access the course, quick tour of the features, the resources at your disposal. There are resources inside of homework, so that's what I want to show you next. So when you do homework, so let me just select a homework assignment. I'll just choose this particular one. So this is how many questions we have. I'll start with question 1. You have 3 tries for each question, except if it's a fill in the blank or a drop down. Okay, so you might have a drop down. I'm going to select another problem that has a little bit more work. All right, so here we have a data set representing monthly phone use in minutes of a customer enrolled in fraud prevention program for the past 20 months. The company decides to use the upper fence as the cutoff point for the number of minutes at which the customer should be contacted. What is the cutoff point? So you'll know what upper fence means when you get to this particular section. The important piece I want to show you is there's a question help right here. You can ask, help me solve this. What that will do is walk you through this problem and then give you a new one. This is interactive. Most of my students like view an example. This will bring up an example just like the one we have, and it will walk you through what to do. Most students prefer that because they walk through the problem and then they do this problem at the same time. If there's a video, this is a video example. This will take you to the page in the textbook. If you select StatCrunch, this will open up the statistics package. This just takes you to a blank worksheet though. So if you want to do this problem in StatCrunch, it would be really nice if all the numbers were already typed in. This little icon right here if you click on that and open it in StatCrunch, your data will be already typed in. So then you can use StatCrunch to answer this particular problem. You don't have to do anything by hand in here. We're focusing on technology. So if you've gone through there and you have a tech help question, this will give you step-by-step StatCrunch on how to put it in and what to click, which is wonderful. And then you also have an Ask My Instructor. So what this will do is send me an email with a link to the problem that you're working on and type your question. I tried whatever it was and have a question on. This is how you get help from me on homework. You have to actually use that Ask My Instructor link because everybody's homework assignment is different. That means that this program regenerates questions, so not everybody has the same data set. So when you send that to me, what I get on my end is I get a link to this question. I can see what you've typed in here, and with your explanation, I can answer your question. So you have homework help at any time. Now, if you haven't gone through up here, there may be times where Ask My Instructor, I'll tell you the page number to look at, or I'll refer you to a resource first. So when you use Ask My Instructor, I'm assuming that you've looked at your other avenues first. Other item you can do is print. You can print this particular question, or you can print the entire homework assignment. This is very helpful when you need to go to the tutoring center, or if you need help. You print the exact question, you can take a piece of paper in with you and they'll help you, and then you can come back and type in your answers later. So that's a wonderful feature. Okay, so what happens when you do homework? You type in, notice when you type in the box, there's a little math typo come in. So I'm just going to I'll put a fraction. I know my answer is going to be wrong. And then check your answer. If it's not correct, it will give you a hint. You have 3 tries. So let me clear this out. And I'll put 5. Second answer is wrong. I'll try it one more time. This is your final check. Oh, and I didn't get it correct. So maybe I need to ask a question, and then what I can do is similar question after you ask me a question or get tutoring help. Then you can do a similar question. So you have 3 tries and then 3 questions. So you should be able to get all of homework right. Ask for help when you need to, though. And then it automatically saves your work as you type in your answers and click, check my work. It'll automatically save what you have in there. And then if you miss the problem, it'll put a little mark by it. Okay, so you can enter, there's no time limit on homework. You can enter in and out of homework as many times as you want to. And I have the homework assignments due on a particular day. It's usually the Sunday of the week. And then I call it the drop dead date. You can still access homework after the due date, and the homework is accessible until the day you take a quiz over that particular chapter. So for example, let me get out of there. If you look at the homework list up front, our first quiz over chapters 1 through 3 is on September 12th for this class. That means all of these homework assignments, even though the due dates are every Sunday night, you can still access them and work on them until this quiz is due at midnight on a Tuesday. All right, so that's a quick tour. Quick tour of the quizzes. You have 2 hours to complete the test. When you start it, there will be a running time up here. You can click through, answer questions that you know. You can certainly keep your notes and stuff next to you. And then if you only have a half hour to work on it, and you only need this many problems, what you do is you close this testing window and it will save your work. Then you can go back and re-enter this quiz later, finish the test. You have 120 minutes total, however many days that takes. So you don't actually submit your quiz until you're done, because when you submit it, it will grade it and you're done. So I had 32 unanswered questions, so my quiz is 0 out of 50. But if you'll notice, let me find my quiz here. when you look, it says, oh, 1 of 2 attempts have been taken. So when I go back in again, I have to start all over again. Okay, and there's a tutorial if you need to on how to enter answers. So I think that covers a pretty quick introduction of how to access, quick tour, resources that you have, and where your homework and quizzes are.